on this solemn, the saddest of all unpaid nobodies days, could you give me a somber and respectful boom, 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 boom to start the podcast?
But the fact that we were able to actually hear that live
Yeah.
with like 50 people screaming, "Oh, boom, boom, boom," it was insane.
Yeah. I just imagine when I die, I want someone to do like real sad boom, boom, booms like it's taps.
Oh my
Like,
God.
boom,
That'll
boom,
be
boom,
very appropriate.
boom.
I would do that for you.
I know you would, Purvis. You're a real one. Yeah, just remember that in 15 years. Like,
All right.
welcome. This is coming for us all. Welcome to the Unpaid
It's
Nobodies.
a dark week, but
Everyone, word hell. We got
Dark times.
dark
some
times.
The weekend.
The album of the year. One of the
weekend.
album of the years. Yeah. Let's just talk about some music.
Yeah, let's
we
talk
all
about
know what's
some
going on.
Yeah,
in
we
the
all know
world.
what's going on. We don't gotta talk about this.
Yeah, let's forget about that.
Yeah,
Let's talk about what's going on in the music world.
because we actually have like a lot of cool shit to talk about. We went to the West Side Gun, Heels Have Eyes, Steel Praying event last
Wow.
week,
What
and we're
an
gonna be
event.
reviewing the album Still Praying, which I gotta say I enjoyed quite a bit.
Yes.
You know,
So good.
so there's plenty to take our mind off this week, and I hopefully for the next 4 years. Anyway, so Purvis, run through the albums.
Yes. Starting off with the albums, we were already given this information previously. I think I want to say 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah.
ago. But Absol is releasing this Friday. He'll be dropping Soul Burger. Very, very excited for this. TDE and just the West Coast in general have been in their bag this entire year. So
Oh yeah,
This is gonna be a
especially
lot.
now that it's a wrap. It's a wrap for like
there's
which
nothing-
part of the country has had the best year. Like between everything TDE has done and then Chromacopia. Over.
It's hard to compete with.
Yeah,
them.
over. Yeah,
So
and the beef.
and the beef,
Yeah.
which technically they get to win. They get to claim that.
Not like when you finish with Not Like Us. Yeah, you do. I think.
You had Bloods and Crips dancing on stage. Kendrick, what can't you do? But
He
anyway,
should run for president. Like,
he might win.
I heard you was.
If I hear a presidential speech that has "I heard you were conflicted," I'm losing it. I'm losing it. But some of the other albums coming out, we have ASAP Ferg coming out with the Darnell. Should be very fun. I believe Denzel Curry and Future is featured in this album. I have to double check.
On the ASAP
And
Ferg.
then- yes.
It's nuts.
So that should be dope. And then last but not least, our favorite young artist, Baby Tron, is dropping Tronicles. Yeah. Don't get too
Wow.
excited.
I mean, I'm very excited for Soulbringer. I'm
Yes.
certain ASAP Ferg will be fun. And Babytron, could it get worse? I mean, I don't know. I like some of the songs he was on All Is Yellow, but like I have very low opinions of Babytron. Oh, also, what was that song? The Eminem song. Toby, the one with Big Sean.
Yes.
That
I
song
was
was
trying
good.
to remember the name. Okay.
That was good. A lot of singles though. A lot of good singles dropping.
I guess that actually is true. So for the singles, we have Corday and Joey Badass partnering up to drop Syrup Sandwiches. We have Ice Cube featuring Killer Mike and Busta Rhymes dropping Egomaniacs. We have French Montana and Lil Durk dropping Big Bag. We have Young Nudie and Pierre Bourne dropping Right Now. I'm actually very excited about that. I think that's already came out previously this week. And I believe they announced the Slimeer 3 or 2. Well, I don't know. Their second album together. I'm very excited. And then after that, we have Kenny Mason dropping Hood Rat. We have the GOAT, Kevin Gates.
Dude, exactly
dropping
who I
Feel.
need this week. That was the first thing I did on Wednesday morning. I was
Just
like,
turn on Kevin Gates. You're really losing it.
I looked out as the rain came down over Irving Park, and I just put on Kevin Gates.
And let me just say, with the the potential changes in rights around women's bodies. May God murder my children.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I went out and I started a car with my hands.
Man. What a guy.
Dude, I'm so happy he
What a
exists.
guy.
Aren't you happy you live in a world with Kevin Gates and not a world without it? Like, he's not running for president. He's nice to his...
Yeah.
Did you see that his daughter's a furry? So he got a costume to dress up with her?
No, I did not see that at all.
Yes,
What? Wow, that is it's honestly not that surprising.
No, it's not.
Now that I think about it. It makes sense. Last but not least, to close us out, we have Chris Patrick coming out with Mr. Fantastic out of Chicago. So
that's fun.
Checking that out.
All right, what singles are we all excited for?
Me,
Kevin Gates.
Like I said. Yes. Him and his fairy.
I gotta say, Ice Cube and Killer Mike sounds fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's an interesting combo.
Yeah. Especially because I do see like Killer Mike is kind of like a iteration on Ice Cube in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And also Corday and Joey Badass. I like Corday. Despite everything about him, I like Corday a lot.
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
Can you explain what you mean by that? Because like I don't know how I feel about him yet.
Because like, how do I put this? Like, his music is very good. He has excellent beat selection. He has excellent flow. He's genuinely very good at lyricism. Right. And it's not like it's like problematic or anything. It's just like his songs do not have as much substance as he thinks they do. Right? They're a little normie Facebook page kind of flavored, if you know what I mean.
He's someone that you can put mainstream.
He's very mainstream. Yeah. Like, I think he's very good. I like Corday a lot.
Like,
right?
You can play him on any kind of radio station. Yeah. You can play him on anyone can get really into him.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I don't think he has a super duper strong voice.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Someone said that he was a diet J. Cole.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Radio friendly.
Yeah.
Yes, radio friendly. But that is literally all the news, all the music, I should say. In terms of news, the only news that really came up is that A$AP Rocky's vinyl for Don't Be Dumb has officially been refunded to all of the buyers.
Which I think we were all hoping this would be the worst news of the week.
Yeah, I wish that was the worst news because I actually was excited for A$AP Rocky's album. And
no, this is bad news.
We actually had a set date like 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, or something like that.
I think it just jumped the gun. He was so excited. He had probably
but it's also been a long time.
It's been a long time.
It's probably like the small production updates that's fucking killing it.
Yeah,
I don't know. This is crazy.
Because I'm pretty sure he probably got overexcited about it. He probably had like the track list and everything all set for it, and then he listens back, and just like, nah.
Which that does happen.
Yeah, that does happen. And here's the thing: if the album does two things, if the album A comes out and is B good enough, I would say as long as it's better than his last album. Not that testing is like awful by any stretch. But I think if it comes out and it's good enough, I don't think anyone will care that it was delayed for so long. Right?
Yeah.
I think the fear is that this is a sign that it could just not come out.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's just not. Because like the thing is, it's not out until it is. Right?
Yeah, but also it's been a long time already since it's been delayed. And if it's not going to come out till, summer of next year, why not just refund people and wait?
I guess, I think that's totally fair. I just think I get like why, someone would do like if A$AP Rocky is genuinely extremely serious about dropping this, I can see why he would do that. I'm just saying I also think it makes sense, like from the perspective of the person getting their to be like, oh, maybe this isn't just coming out at all.
Also, maybe he heard Tyler's album and said, maybe I will
You got to step
Hold
it up.
off.
Yeah, no. Tyler's album has been kind of a cultural gravity center. You know, in the last week of October, it was what everyone was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, fuck. I still want to talk. We did a whole ass episode about it. Lots of people watched. Thank you. But it was. I still just want to talk about that album. It's so good.
It's very, very good.
Very good.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to do schools in session, Purvis, or are we?
No, I did not get the names together.
Okay,
I'm
let's
taking
just
a break
go.
on
Yeah,
schools
let's
in
just.
session.
We should come up with another thing we can do between.
We should reassess.
Yeah, we should do another little game because schools in session was good until we inevitably ran out of rappers.
I was gonna say, I think we've done. I counted it. It's over like 150 names. We've done a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can reassess.
Yeah, we'll think of
Something.
another game. I thought of one the other day, and I was gonna write it down, and then I didn't, and now we're here. So, like,
That's how life goes.
yeah, no, that's how life goes. All right, so let's get right into it. We have a lot. Do we want to talk about the album first, or do we want to talk about the event first? I think we'll start with the album.
Album.
Cool.
Okay. Still Praying. A kind of like a follow-up to And Then You Pray For Me, which was a follow-up to Pray For Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped last week. West Side Gun. He made it in a day. He dropped a whole EP to promote it.
DJ Drama was the
DJ. It was a DJ drama tape.
production.
Very
Man.
different than And Then You Pray For Me in pretty much every way. Purvis, what did you think? What did you going into this? When did you listen to it? What was your thoughts?
At least for Still Praying, I was very excited because the rollout did include basically the 11th Hitler Wears Hermes.
Yeah, 11.
And that's at least how he named it. So that rollout with that EP was amazing. I did listen to 11 right away, and I thought it was amazing. After that, I held off on listening to the actual album and to the listening event, and I'm very glad that I did. I wanted to listen to the album for the first time at the event because it was like a listening event, essentially.
More or less, yeah. We'll talk about that.
Right.
I think pondering the question of did this event count as a listening party is fun. But yeah. So you listened to it for the first time at the event.
Right, at the event. And doing that was insane because I didn't know what was actually like his music, new music on this album. I didn't know what was just other Griselda music playing because there was a whole mass of different stuff going on at that event at once. But with that being said, getting the wrestling aspect of the album before like actually listening to it front to back sitting in my car, I think was amazing because I actually get into like the mind of West Side Gun because I don't know anything about wrestling at all.
Right. Yeah.
So getting that like background before listening to the album was amazing, and it made the album hit so much harder.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of the wrestling theme throughout the album, I think hits really hard. Cause like I'm like you, I don't think this is the only wrestling event I've ever been to. I've never like watched like a full WrestleMania or whatever, but you know, I've had people like Jeff in my life, my entire life. So I do know a little bit about it. I know about like the theatrics. I understand the tropes of it. Oh my God. I lived with Keel for a year. No, yeah, I definitely have watched a few WrestleManias now that I think about it. Just by virtue of the fact that I shared a living room with Jaquil. Right. Shout out Young Gil. But yeah.
Yeah.
No. But I think I was familiar enough with the wrestling tropes to appreciate them when I listened to it the first time because I listened to this Friday morning. Like
right away.
I listened to this right away because I was like,
I didn't even know at 5:30 in the morning.
I didn't even
that Friday. I was on my way home. Hey, I was on my way home from work.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
I was listening to it 5:30 in the morning to start my day.
I was on my way to work. It was actually on my way to work. So because I did the morning show, so it was more like 4 a.m.
Yeah. I'm making my coffee, starting my day with West Side
With
Gun.
the West Side Gun.
Hey, driving down Lower Whacker
Beef bar, that's how I start all my days now.
here.
Speedy 40?
Bop, 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 down Lower Whacker. Come on now.
Now I'm near that down.
Something hits about going to your 9 to 5 listening to West Side Gun.
Oh
There is
yeah,
something crazy about it. Okay.
Okay, so
especially
So
doing
no.
my job.
Oh my god. So I listened to it that morning, and I listened to it 3 times on Friday. Right? Like
Okay.
I loved it. I was getting very hyped for the event. I was very much like, this sounds fucking insane. I have never been to a wrestling event. The idea that it was like smaller, indier, like not the, the big WrestleManias. I'm like, okay, this sounds sick. And then to actually
this
have,
is super indie.
yeah, and then to actually have like a wrestling themed album from an artist I really like, that was nuts. It was an incredible feeling. I don't think anything could prime me for that better than listening to this album a bunch of times.
it's funny because even at the event, I didn't realize till afterwards. But I think it was like every 30 minutes we like turned to each other and it was just like, man, this was a good idea.
It was so sick. It was so sick.
Man, this was
We
a
were
good
also
idea.
pretty drunk. We were also very drunk. Like,
That is also true. But like the rollout and everything going with this album, this is the most I've enjoyed an album in all of its like surroundings.
yeah,
in a
like
long
getting
time.
kind of caught up in like the whole thing, right? Because
The
like,
whole web of stuff, dude.
yeah, because like, full disclosure, like Chromacopia is still probably my favorite album of the year, but the tour, like, we're not seeing the tour until June. I'm probably going to fall off and revisit this album by then, versus like this drops the day before.
Mm.
It was an insane feeling. So now, Jeff, talk to us. This is the first time you've been on for a West Side Gun project. So talk to us a little bit about just your thoughts on
We
West
get
Side
it now.
Gun. Yeah.
Well, I got into West Side Gun because you guys told me about West Side Gun.
Yeah, dude, he's
You're
really good.
Wasn't didn't like I'm a big wrestling fan, and I didn't realize how big of a wrestling fan he was. Where he's like making albums referencing wrestling.
Yeah.
He now owns a wrestling company.
4 ropes.
Yeah, Fourth Row.
Yeah,
So
4th
dope.
rope.
Like
It's so dope.
so, it's like he made an album wearing a Bray Wyatt Fiend mask.
Yeah. That's
Like,
nuts.
he made a whole album in that mask, which is mind blowing. But knowing his that's what I like about him so much more. And he sounds like Action Bronson so much. Am I wrong on that?
No. The
They're all the same.
Like
AO
some of the
is
time-
yeah, when they both
I'm listening and I'm
start
like,
their
wait.
verses with AO and you can't tell the difference.
Yeah, and I'm like, as I'm driving sometimes, and I'm like, I have to look over, and it's like, is this Action or is this West Side Gun?
No. Yeah, I feel
Like, because this I'm like, this song actually bangs.
and it doesn't help the fact that they all work with the same producers. They all
Yeah,
work
but-
with the
Yeah.
same East Coast
Same.
producers. They both have projects with Derringer and Alchemist.
I'm pretty sure at one point I thought Action Bronson was in Griselda. So
Yeah.
like it.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's done, because like that's the thing about Griselda is a label. So like people come up, like I think people have like come on and just done like one-off albums.
Yeah.
Like that I would love. If it hasn't happened, I want an Action Bronson album dropped on Griselda. Okay, Jasper, you did not go to the wrestling thing.
No,
Do you have a relationship with wrestling?
I do not.
Same, bro. I get it.
I know very little. The only thing I know is the WWE stars who are being shoehorned into complex content, like
Yeah.
complex news, because they've got everybody in WWE going on sneaker shopping and hot ones and stuff like that. So I know, like, obviously, like John Cena, Undertaker, like Steve Austin, like stuff like that. And then my knowledge
Guys that
jumps to
aren't
like,
active.
yeah, and then my knowledge jumps to like what's his name? Like, is it Roman Reigns and like
Yeah.
I don't even know who else from like this current like Dana White and like shit like that.
Yeah.
And not even Dana White.
White's
Like,
UFC.
yeah,
Dana
so
White's
like
UFC.
fucking so whatever. Like no, I'm not familiar.
Yeah.
It's just like it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
no.
Pretty
Not
much
a lot
where
of
I was
people
at,
are.
No. I
Yeah.
grew up thinking it was just my circles, but I thought it was lame when I was growing up.
Yeah, I
because
didn't get it growing up. Yeah. I didn't realize that it's a story. Right? Like
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. Jasper, what did you think of the album?
Still mid.
Okay.
Oh.
I remember Jasper was the one that was like, I'm not feeling it.
No, I'm not feeling this either. I did not enjoy this. It's like this feels like ADHD the album, and I'm not really here for it. It just doesn't do it for me. It's like the structuring is weird. The ad libs over the middle of a verse are fucking annoying. Like I thought DJ Drama was annoying on Kid Cudi. He's not the most annoying part of this project, which is like I think a statement.
Wow. How can you be so bold and so wrong?
I don't know. Maybe it takes one to know one.
I remember, but I do remember the last project because like Brandon and I have been pretty high on West Side Gun
Yeah.
for a while.
I just think the last project had a lot of legitimate faults.
Right.
Right? Like don't get me wrong, I really liked And Then You Pray For Me, but it was very bloated. I think that's what I like about this is that this is not a super
much.
long project, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I also liked that it was a little bit more traditional. But yeah, like do you have more you want to elaborate on, Jasper?
Yeah, I mean, so it's technically a mixtape, right? It's not really an album.
Yeah.
No.
I think that immediately surfaces some inherent flaws. I think a lot of the mixing across, like I said, like the instrumentation versus like the vocals versus the ad libs on top of the vocals, immediately for me just throws some things that I philosophically just like don't agree with in terms of like how you structure a song or like how a song plays out. So that just like creates kind of like a barrier for me to enjoy certain parts of this. I think the variety of like just interjections across it is kind of like part of why I didn't like Scaring the Hose, just because like it's a sound effect every fucking 40 seconds, and this is, I think, suffers from that a little bit. I think West Side Gun also still for me suffers from that disconnect of like the dude's in his 40s, and like I think I've come to appreciate rap from people in their 40s that's a little bit more like introspective as to like where they are in their life and like how they've gotten to where they are and like what's next for them and like things like that. And I just think a lot of his subject matter feels a little flat and a little immature. I think it's like if Pusha T had less of the charm and was more about just like shock value in a way. I think it lacks a little bit of the charisma that like some of the Pusha T stuff we've gotten over the last couple of years might have to be at that level. And I don't know. I think a lot of it is also just like a little tired, just like the subject matter. I think the focus on Louis this and that, respect to Virgil, like yes, these are all important things, and I love Virgil Abloh more than like most people, but I think a lot of that stuff is like a little tried and true, especially in the context of like his own repertoire of content for his albums and mixtapes. But that's just like that for me. That's just like the subject matter didn't really land. Wrestling is a disconnect for me, and just I think the style of it. I don't think musically it's dynamic enough where even the instrumentality of it is like really catchy or interesting to me, because a lot of it is just kind of here's a Trailer Park Boys sounding ass beat and we're gonna rap over it about cooking dope and Louis V for like 4 minutes, and it loses me a little bit in that.
That's wild. Like, I think you lost me with the beats. Like
Yeah.
everything you said, I was like, I can understand. Like, I think everything you said, like, I can be here, like, really liking this album and kind of seeing where you're coming from. But I thought this beat selection was fucking incredible.
Some of them are good. Some of them are good. I think that they some of them tend to overstay their welcome, and I think they're not really that dynamic. It's like you get one kind of measure. And
yeah, I would
it.
definitely agree that it's not dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think like expectations come into it for a little bit, because it is like, I think to me like a certain part of it is like this, grimy hip hop. Like, it hasn't released a lot this year. And it is something I do feel like you kind of like run through, like very similar to trap music. Like, there's a reason these guys drop all the time, right? But, and like, yeah, I do think it's very raw, but I think that's what I like. Like I think like a lot of my exposures to West Side Gun has been like these very insanely crafted experiences, right? Whether that be Hitler Wears Hermes 8 in part 2, or this Pray for Paris, Still Praying, and 10 more so in like how many people he has on that project, right? Everything was just so crafted. I think seeing something kind of returning to his roots and being more like straightforward, I thought was relaxing, right? Like I was happy he wasn't rapping over trap beats again, right? And I liked that. I thought that those a couple of songs off 10 and then You Pray for Me were good, but I was happy to hear that like, oh, this is kind of like going back to like the traditional sound. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I think is interesting is that you mentioned like the feeling of like kind of something a little more grimy. It's interesting to me that King of the Mischievous South is probably my second or third favorite project this year, and this ranks at the polar opposite of that because it's like
they're very similar albums, I think, right?
Right, but instrumentally and like musically, in terms of like the beats and the selection and the production, I think that there's like it feels like a very different world to me, and like this just doesn't connect. Whereas that really did.
Yeah,
I think there's also a very big energy shift between the two albums as well.
Yeah,
I feel like Denzel Curry is much more upbeat, much more.
Yeah, that album is like that's to work out to. This is the walk home to, right? Like this is they're very different tones.
I don't think upbeat music.
What I think these albums have in common, because I noticed that connection too, is I think that they are both like intentionally playing with like the mixtape format, right? Like I think Denzel Curry is like. Yeah, that's like an album, like in every shape, way, or form. But it's meant to evoke the feeling of it being like an old school mixtape. And this just is one. Like, this is quite literally a mixtape he made, like, while waiting for his album to get mastered, right? In a day, right? This is a collection of freestyles, essentially. And I think in that regard, I don't think any other artist could have hit this high for me with what is essentially a collection of freestyles.
Yeah,
that's a fair assessment. Yeah,
this is just something to please the fans while we're waiting for it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think Fly God is an Awesome God 3. That's the next one coming out. That's going to be a big event, right? That's going to be the one that has crazy features. That's going to be the one that he like, spends more time mixing on than he did making this whole thing. Right. I think like that is absolutely going to be the next one. This was for the fans, but at the same time, like to me, it felt like a return to form. Like I think I like this more than And Then You Pray for Me. I don't like it more than Pray for Paris. But
yeah, it's hard to be Pray for Paris, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I thought that this was way more like once again, like it is kind of inherently unfocused because it is so off the cuff. But it's not bloated and meandering, which I do think West Side Gun has the tendency to be. And I like that. Like I thought it was fantastic. And like, yeah, I do agree it's not very dynamic, but it is just, in my opinion, a very underserved sound. And I don't mind it just kind of straight up,
Oh, I would say one point that you brought up that like actually triggered something in me. You compared it to Scaring the Hoes, and like, for me personally, I did not like Scaring the Hoes, but I can somehow see the correlation between the two because of all the sounds in the background. Like you said, random noises coming up, things like that. It doesn't work for Scaring the Hoes for me, but it does work for this.
Yeah.
And so I've realized that, like, as I've listened to Griselda over the past, it's only been like 2 or 3 years. It has not been that long.
Right.
Like, in terms of creating a sound and like adding into it and like having it flourish and being good, I think Griselda has done that better than almost any other group that I've listened to previously. I do remember like when Chance was coming up, I got that like Chicago feeling. Like you felt like you were in Chicago when you listened to the music. I haven't gotten that feeling off an artist in a very long time where it like creates a world for me. Griselda's just different. I don't know how they do it so well, but I know every single time Griselda or West Side Gun, Benny the Butcher,
Conway, Boldy James,
Rome Street, literally all
Rome
of
Streets,
They
Still
are
God
drunk.
Cooks. Drop Stove
yeah.
God Cooks, West Side Gun.
I hear you on that. I guess maybe I don't desire
If you
to
don't
visit.
like it, but like it makes sense then.
Yeah, but I don't want to visit a crack den in Buffalo, New York. So like maybe
Yeah.
there's that. But also I think
Yeah,
you mentioned the
okay.
sound effect thing. I can point to a couple specific things on this that just piss me the fuck
Oh, I
off.
know. I know.
He's got that long ass clip of somebody just unloading like a pistol.
Yeah.
And it plays 3 times, and 2 of those times are within a minute and a half of each other, and it's like, shut the fuck up. This is so obnoxious. We get it. You're gonna shoot people. Shut the fuck up.
No,
You're 40.
that was so cool.
We are torturing Jasper. I love it.
He's in jail. He gets to do
it's
that.
it's like fireworks. It's like, dude, it's not 4th of July yet. Chill out.
But I don't think you've taken into your equation that he's super fly god.
I think it's so funny that you say that, being the one who very much rails against like consumerist, flashy like rapper
He is
culture.
the
Yeah.
And yet West Side Gun is like the worst offender in this entire area, and like it's just
I don't think
whatever.
worst offender. Like
He's up there. He's
I don't-
definitely
He
up there.
is up there.
His
Yeah.
hits are ludicrous.
Brandon, he's up there.
Yeah.
He's really up there.
yeah, I know. But the thing is that unlike others, he makes good music.
I guess that's fine.
That's fair.
Like, you know,
Yes.
like
Jasper, you didn't like his daughter's speech? She's
Yeah.
in every album.
dude, I
I
saw
think
a
that was
tweet-
one of the funnier and more redeeming parts of it. The whole thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Dude,
good.
my
Okay.
favorite thing, I saw a tweet that was like, oh my God, West Side Gun's daughter's telling me I have trash taste. Real music is back. Like,
West Side Pootie's here, and she's.
I was
come
listening
tell you
to it
that
while I
you're
was playing
broke.
Call of Duty, and like that's how Rachel heard the last few West Side Gun projects. And then she was like, oh my God, it's so nice to hear from Pootie. Like,
He's in the family now.
yeah. Like, my God. It's, so yeah. I do think like it is an album that's like, you know, it's a mixtape. There's not a whole lot to talk about, but I think as far as beat selection, I think it was fantastic. I think the thing I've always liked about West Side Gun more than like, because I don't think he's like super lyrical. What I think he's great at is flow. I think
It's a vibe. It creates a vibe.
I think
that's
it's
the whole
flow,
thing.
and the other thing is that like, yeah, he's not super lyrical, but he's also like he doesn't have a style where you could effectively mumble and kind of look just like you can't bullshit West Side Gun style. Like, yeah, he's not out here talking about issues that in any capacity, but like you can't mutter your way over a beat like he does, right? Like you have to put together the syllables and the rhyme schemes and everything. So, and I think he's really good at like floating over a beat and like making really interesting flows. Right. Like, yeah, I think I've always kind of said that lyrically, I think he's one of the least impressive members of Griselda, but he's the one who kind of puts it all together.
Mhm.
Right. And I think that's why I ultimately fuck with him and why I like do feel, because I have noticed, especially like fucking, and then you pray for me. I was like, yeah, this is a little gross. Right. Like, but I do think I feel very, I guess this is the thing I've meditated on. I do feel like I feel differently about West Side Gun because like he's kind of created this entire like community of like art right now that is like blowing up, right?
Mhm.
Which is having insane downstream effects down to the people we've had on this show, Shaw and Danny No Nos, like, you know, insane downstream effects.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I didn't even think about them.
Right. Like,
We should have asked him like, what does he think about Griselda? I don't know if we actually.
no,
asked
he
him
did.
that.
He did. He loves it. He said his punk band. He was telling me this punk band is named after a Conway the Machine song.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Which,
Should we talk about some of the tracks then?
yeah. Let's talk about some of the tracks. Which ones do you want to bring up?
I guess if anything, because we haven't really been doing song by song when we do reviews. Just anything that stood out to you.
Yeah, I think Free Shots I think is incredible. I think Free Shots and Still Praying are easily like the
best two.
Yeah, like it's the title fight of it, you know. I also do like Underground Kings, but that's because I am like a big fan of Rome Streets. Like we'll talk about this later when we talk about the event, but like I'm a big fan of Rome Streets, so I really like that one as well. And then Speedy 40. I really liked Speedy 40.
Okay.
right? And like, yeah, I just thought they were like, granted, they're not meticulously put together. This isn't sicko mode, but it's like, you know, it's well crafted like verses,
Mm.
and I
Yeah.
just like the beat selection and everything.
For me, probably outside of like you said, the big ones, the Free Shots and Still Praying are probably the biggest songs on the album. For me, Dr. Britt Baker, absolutely amazing song, and
Yeah,
then it ends off with that freestyle in the
yeah,
background. It's a nice
Yeah.
touch. It, like things like that are just simple interludes to put it all together.
Max
And then
Caster, I like that one. Beef
Max Caster.
Bar.
yeah. Beef art. I also really liked. I fucking love the beat on "Runaway Pieces at the Last Supper." "Runaway Pieces at the Last Supper."
Mm-hmm.
Right. I really, really liked that beat. That was fucking insane.
I love all of these, honestly, dude.
Yeah. Right. Like, and I think like that's like part of like the whole appeal of this is that it like it is just like a project. It's something you can just put on and like listen to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. I
But
don't find myself
what,
skipping
like,
around these a lot.
so since you guys aren't wrestling fans, but what I like, at the end of Beef Bar, you hear that rap. That's Max Caster rapping into Max Caster. The rest
Oh,
Okay, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Max Caster is because he does that for his entrance. He raps.
Okay, I didn't realize the person rapping name was Max Caster. Okay.
Yeah, I knew a
Like
lot of these were wrestling.
Dr. Britt Baker, she's a wrestler, but she's also a dentist.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Justin Roberts, he's the ring announcer for AEW.
So there's actually
So,
meaning behind all these names too.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Yeah,
I
like
think like
that's how hardcore of a wrestling fan West Side Gun is, where he'll actually do shit like this.
right,
It's
and it
not a
does feel
deep
like
game.
the whole thing was like just a love letter to wrestling,
Yes.
To
right?
his promotion, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah. Man, I love that. I'm sorry. It's not like a deep theme, but this is like such a heavy theme.
yeah, like that's the thing, right? It
focused.
doesn't like a
It's a
theme
treat.
doesn't have to be super deep to pull things together. I think like the
No.
fact that like this is just in a nice package of like this is about wrestling, right? They have like the aesthetics of it. It has like all the references to it, all the names to it. Like, do I think like more could have been done with that theme? Absolutely. But like this is a mixtape. I think considering the level of like production that we know is going to go into this, I think what he pulled off is really impressive.
Yeah. I mean, you only have 3 songs that are over 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that helps it for me too, because I don't think any of them like really ever outstay their welcome. It's like very easy to like just kind of get through the whole project.
I want to ask then, Jasper, what songs do you hate the most?
I don't know if
All
it's
the ones we
specific.
named.
I don't know if it's specific songs that I hate. It's just
It's
like
the vibe overall.
it's not. So for me, I was thinking about it while you all were talking, and I think I kind of figured it out. If a beat is going to be like this, where it's not dynamic and it's just kind of the same thing, I need like, for me personally, I need like a really strong storytelling element or like a really strong like carrying cadence of some kind, right?
Yeah.
And because this is so improvisational, it just doesn't have that for me. It feels really unfocused, which is why I said ADHD the album. And it's just like, yeah, like I agree. Free Shots, Still Praying. I liked specifically Conway's verses on both of those. I thought those were really good, like in a vacuum. But when you put it with everything else, it feels sloppy to an extent to me. It just doesn't have like the focus that I like from like a project. And I mean, 37 minutes, it's definitely not overstaying its welcome. But when it's for me that unfocused, it tends to feel even longer because it's not driving at like it's not getting somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like I didn't come into it expecting it to get somewhere because I didn't get that from And Then You Pray for Me, and I just accepted that was kind of meandering. But even still, it's just like, yeah, it just didn't have the momentum. Like when I hear beats like this, I expect like MF Doom style, like especially
Yeah.
from what we've been listening to lately. I expect like MF Doom levels of like, here's a story
lyrical.
told super intricately and like it goes perfectly and he raps in and around and through the beat and like all this shit, and like that just doesn't happen here in like the same way. Or like at early Eminem, this reminds me of like Infinite, like the beats on that, and that's like all storytelling. It's just straight like, here's a fictitious fun story about like a serial stabber with green hair or some bullshit, and it's like and even though it's like ridiculous, it's like very linear and it like goes from point A to point B. Feeling like this doesn't do that, I think really hurts the listening experience for me.
This just came to me. This is the perfect album for the event he had, because like this album, I hear it and I just picture myself in a small venue concert hall at a fight or a wrestling
that
event.
is exactly the vibe of it.
Like,
Dude,
I think of Def Jam Fight for New York, like playing that game, and in the background, this is the type of music you're playing.
I mean, but even based off what Jasper just said, do you think if you just had it in the background, paying less attention to it, like let's say you're just playing Halo,
Totally.
do you feel like you would enjoy it way more?
Yeah, active listening for this for me is a miss. But like if this is just on in the background, yeah, 100%. It feels like it definitely has the vibe of like, yeah, let's just like throw it on, but it's not like a listening experience you would like want to tee up for. I went into this with the same level of focus that I would give to something like Chromacopia, which I think was a mistake. Like I never expected it to be at that level, but I went into it trying to be attentive, and being attentive, I found all these things I didn't like about it, like these flaws.
Oh yeah. No, that makes total sense.
The reason I wanted to ask that too, because it's a similar feel. I mean, it's my first wrestling event, so I can't speak for any real experience. But like, that's how it would feel. There was so much. There was a lot going on at that event. There were video games set up on the side. These crazy lines. Everyone's got different outfits. Everyone's kind of moving around. There's an entire wrestling event going on. Like, it is a nice background. Just throw it on during the break. And everyone's coming back together. Like it just kind of makes sense.
It is just totally, like lyrical lo-fi.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing. It felt like, and that to me almost felt like a little low effort, because like lo-fi, you just put it on and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna put some lyrics on to like these beats. But this, it feels like an exact extension of like the entire Griselda release method of just like dump shit out and see what sticks, and that like really seems to be the case. Like you look through everything that West Side Gun has released since like 2022, and it's just like all this stuff, right? And it's like there never feels like there's like that, maybe for like the big Fly God projects, but even still, like the spaces between those are punctuated with all these releases. It really makes it feel like there isn't like this calculated overarching thing. It's like it feels exactly like this album feels in terms of like the release structure and like the scheduling for the entire label. It's like, all right, here's a thing, here's another thing, smoke bomb, like, and then like more shit continues to come out. Yeah, it's a different philosophy and like a different approach to music than like what I guess I am really used to and like what I look for. I think that's the best way to put it.
I'm sorry, you got me with that. Smoke bomb. Nightmare. Okay.
So yeah, well, I mean,
you make a good point. It's a valid point.
It is a vibe. I'll give you that. It's just not one that I want to actively. I don't want to have to dissect it, because then I get frustrated with it. You know.
What do you And just curious, since we're talking about it, what would you throw in the background? Like, let's say you're building another Game Boy. Do you play music in the background? What do you listen to?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'll usually put on a project that like I like but don't love.
Give me an example.
Acid rap.
I hate you so much right now.
I know you do. I don't have the connection to acid rap. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Like, it's good. I know all the words, and I can kind of like go in and out of it and like enjoy it. But it's not something that I love so much that it's going to take my attention away from what I'm doing.
Could have said so many things. Brandon snapped back into place so quickly.
And I was like, wake up, Mr. West.
I felt all the frustration I'm feeling this week.
Brandon, so Brandon's ready to do a drive-by for Chaz.
Yeah.
Let me. All right, fine. Let me adjust. That was a little harsh. because that's one that I might not even put on. I might get carried away. I'm not gonna lie. Acid Rain comes on, I'm unfocused.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
But like I can't
Good.
put on fucking Blonde while I'm working. Like
I'm
it will just take me the fuck out of whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, to me, that's
Okay,
what
yes,
house
like-
music's for.
Yeah,
So yeah, if you
100%. Like
do
I've
that,
got
some people do that.
I've got like synth music that I listen to for stuff like that. I'll put on Daft Punk because like Daft Punk, it doesn't
Okay.
have the substance to take me out of what I'm doing in that way, but it's still musically like very interesting to me.
I feel like okay, don't get me wrong. I understand what you're saying, but like Daft Punk doesn't have lyrics.
It does.
So, like-
it totally does.
Yeah, it does.
Okay,
The hits,
I don't have as much-
the hits don't, but like a lot of the actual
Let-
songs do.
let me correct myself. They don't have like a
It's not the
three-verse
same
breakdown lyrics.
No, it's
Like-
Yeah, no, 100%.
No, it is objectively a
Don't
different
get me
thing.
wrong. They have lyrics, but hearing stronger, faster, bad, like over and over is not going to like.
No, they have like
make
actual
me pay
lyrics that are
more
written
attention
for
to
the
it.
songs, but you have a good point. But no, they have like actual like lyrics
Okay,
they write.
okay.
Yeah, like
Okay, I'll give you another example. I would put on like for my part of that, like if I had like a parallel to West Side Gun for this sort of thing,
Yeah.
maybe like an earlier Yeet album. Like I don't have to think through it,
Mm.
but I enjoy like the musicality of like what's
I
going on
disagree,
in
but
it.
I'm not mad this time. Like,
or like I'd put on
It's not a bad answer. I just didn't
no,
think
it's
about you.
not a bad answer. Yeah.
I don't know. I think another one that I might do. Well, not I can't do it anymore. When I was getting into it more, Good Kid,
Yeah.
Mad City. But now I just get completely
No, yeah,
distracted.
you're gonna get
and
No,
locked in.
yeah, I
Yeah.
gone.
The
It's too
second-
good just to not lock in.
Big Fish Theory. Big Fish Theory is another one.
See, okay, I was waiting for like a Vince Staples. I was waiting for like an Earl sweatshirt, a Smino, a Saba, something low key.
But yeah, and you know what? Even
A
outside of
Rashad.
that, MGMT, like MGMT's first album is like a great example of something. Oracular Spectacular is something where I can put it on, I can vibe through it. It's a great time, and I don't have to like focus. You know?
Okay. I was just curious because like that's what this would be to me, and I feel like that's also why it hit so hard for Jeff Brandon and I. Is like just be driving in the car, just throw on Griselda, and like I'm instantly in a mood that like I'm just calm,
Oh,
everything's chill.
Kawhi.
Okay.
Gambino.
no, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one.
All right. Do we want to give this a grade and move formally over to the event?
Yes.
Indeed.
Okay. I'm gonna give this an A minus.
Okay.
I got B plus.
I'll say A minus, B plus, around the same area. I'm floating between the two.
I'm gonna give it a C plus.
Okay.
Saw that
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, that's fine. I thought it was gonna be worse.
Yeah, I did think it was gonna be worse.
No, I don't actively hate it. It's just that there are a lot of things about it that I can't overlook.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, C in school is basically average, right? So
Yeah.
okay, but the event, the reason
Insane.
this album really hit, like,
Yeah. No,
on a
the
whole nother
insane. Okay, so let's talk through this event. It was a Jeff. Do you want to give us a rundown on what this event was because you understood it
much more than
better than we did before, during, and after. Like,
maybe not after, but
So, from my understanding, it was a wrestling event with West Side Gun's wrestling promotion, Fourth Rope. There were a handful of matches. There was a DJ. Was he playing music throughout the event? I
Yep.
assume. I hope.
no, not
Not
during the
during the
wrestling
match.
matches. Not
If there's
during the
no-
matches.
Well,
matches.
not,
No.
yeah, no,
No,
like
there was a
downtime.
No, yeah, there was a
Yeah.
DJ playing throughout the whole thing. The whole night started with a small set from Rome Streets,
Okay.
who was
Because
dope.
I
He
knew a
had-
couple people there, so I kind of saw what they were posting. So yeah, I knew there was a performance at the beginning. It was like a wrestling arts and cultural show.
yeah,
more or less.
really, because like they had a shit ton of merch, but it was all super expensive.
And by the merch, they had some of the big wrestlers and West Side Gun and some of the other big names there.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Oh
Just
yeah,
hanging
no,
out.
we were running in. Like I physically ran in the Vic Mensa there. I was at Rome Streets' merch tent when he was there. Right, like it was kind of crazy how small, like the level of name versus how small this event was was nuts. I've never been in anything that was like having such big name people at like the Forum at UIC.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
there were people coming in from everywhere. Like I was hearing people at the bar talk about coming in from Kansas, Wisconsin, Minnesota, like all over the country to see this like not really a concert, but to see this wrestling match. And then there was the 4 or 5 matches, which were nuts. It was nothing as insane as what you were saying was going to happen.
Well, because I mean, you said the 2 main guys.
Yeah, Nick Gage
no-showed.
No-showed, yeah, but
So
the physical,
I dug into, so Nick Gage, there was some sort of dispute that happened throughout the day. Because from what I was reading online, Nick Gage was actually on site earlier in the afternoon, going over things. My prediction is the other guy, Sammy Callahan, no show.
Okay.
Because Nick Gage called him out and said, I don't think there was any formal agreement that came through. So I think Nick Gage got all pissed, said, "Fuck you, I'm leaving."
Yeah. He seemed temperamental.
Why
He
is
is
there
very
so much
temperamental
drama
like that.
around this sport?
I mean, when you've been doing it, when you're doing it on the indies, it's like we've been saying, it's the dirty side of wrestling. It is. Guys, that's how guys make their money. It's like they have to, be on point.
Yeah. No, it really was like very, very like, what's the word I would put it? Like DIY, right? Like this was very much like, oh, these people are like, if that guy's getting hit across the face, like he's getting hit across the face, right? Like,
yeah.
It
It's not
may
like,
be
when you're growing up thinking wrestling's fake and then you're going there and actually seeing it.
Right.
Like, no,
like,
it's real.
Like the outcome is predetermined, but
it's all scripted.
There's you
definitely,
can't get around getting hit in the head with a fucking door or like falling off a cage.
You wrestled in high school, right, Brandon?
But that's like wrestling. That's a completely different.
But no, my point being, like, that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the guys in today's wrestling have backgrounds in the Greco-Roman wrestling that you learn in high school because it's more athletic nowadays.
Yeah, it is. It's an insane sport. I wish I could get the body I had from that.
Yeah, but whereas what you guys went to, with it being the indie promotion of Fourth Rope and being the dirty side of wrestling, these guys are the guys that are past their prime, still stuck in 20 years ago type. So that's why you're seeing such a different.
It is a very different vibe.
Yeah, right? That's why it's, compared to what you see on TV, totally different. Totally different.
Right. Yeah. This was a lot more like down and dirty. Like you can kind of tell, like a lot of guys are like, I mean, like there was one, it was a guy, I got a picture of him, but it doesn't say his name. I think his name was like Mike Santiago. Like that was like,
Mike Santana.
Mike Santana. That was an incredible match. Like the drama of it, like just the things these dudes will put their body through. Right. Is nuts. Right. And they had a women's tag team match that was like, you would think it'd be funny. It's not. It's just super fucking riveting to watch. And same thing. Like they are not pulling those punches. Right.
No. They're letting it loose.
Like it was insane how easy it was to just get lost. Like, because we went there thinking we would eventually see West Side Gun performed.
Right.
And like, we didn't get that, and we were so enamored with the wrestling event that it didn't even matter to us. The other thing is that like apparently he did like perform like 2 songs at the end of the night, which was at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah, I was about to say probably late as hell.
Yeah, like we left at midnight and it was not over. He was like, we had seen an hour of DJ because he did like the 5 matches, which was most of the night, and then he had Pete Rock and DJ Premier there, which that's sick as fuck. Like that on its own is worth $80, which I thought was nuts. He had another DJ there, fuck, I forget the guy's name. He has like songs that Run the Jewels and all these guys.
Tagged him.
Skeleton Skella or something like that. Like he was coming out
but-
as we were leaving, and I know he was the
okay.
last guy brought out.
And if I saw on the internet properly, the main event had Smoke DZA.
Yeah, Smoke
in it?
DZA was there. Yeah,
Because I mean, I know him and Westside Gun own Fourth Row.
yeah, Smoke DZA was
They're
there.
partners.
Yeah, Smoke DZA was there. Yeah, I don't know if he was like in the event at all, but
I heard he was in the main event. That
like
he,
the match,
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like I knew like they had his name up everywhere. Like I assumed he was just gonna perform like at the end of the night, and then like when we didn't. But yeah, no, if he was,
Because I heard people say something about him doing something wild in the cage.
I don't
Maybe
know.
it was after we left.
Maybe it was
I don't
after
know.
because I think like one of the
was probably
coolest
another
part
hour.
was
No,
after.
it was because I was still at work when I was reading it.
I think like one of the coolest parts was after the last event when they got the concert going. They let people
Yeah.
storm the ring, so the
Yeah,
ring
I
was
got a good
full.
video of that.
Yeah. So yeah, and the whole time they're playing 11 and Still Praying and Rome and Hatton Garden Hold Up.
Mhm.
And yeah, because that was Rome Street's project. And yeah, it really did feel like a listening party. Like if I had to compare this to any other event I've been to, I'd compare it to the Donda show.
That's literally what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and like obviously it's much smaller scale, but low-key, I think it's better.
I enjoyed everything about the event, like all the extra stuff that went into it, the video games on the side of different wrestling games throughout the like different generation of gaming consoles.
Yeah, they had fighting
The
games.
energy around it, just like everyone in the crowd was on the same type of thing. Everyone's kind of dressed up.
Everyone's there. Like all the artists were there, like walking up to like the fans. Like Westside Gun was smoking a blunt maybe 7 feet away from us. Right. It was insane to be at like this small and intimate of an event. And you know, to have it be this. You know, to have it be something so over the top and nuts.
Yeah.
Right?
They
I
pulled
mean,
it off perfectly.
yeah, no. I totally think this was one of my favorite like non-concert events I've been to all year.
Oh yeah. And like I was just trying to think about it. Obviously it's a stretch, but like if one of my favorite artists came out with like an album about soccer and there was like a soccer listening party, you do not understand how quickly I'll be at that event. So like, it just fits. It was done so well.
Right.
I don't even like wrestling, and I enjoyed this.
I also think there are some things about wrestling and hip hop that are like very specifically connected, like the idea of kayfabe, right? Like this idea that like you yourself as a character.
Smoke DZA threw someone through the table in the main event.
What?
I remember.
In that
I
main
definitely
event,
remember someone getting thrown through a table. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was looking down, and I remember you going, "Oh my god!" or something like
Yeah,
that.
no, I
looked
remember
up,
that. I
and it
remember.
was gone.
They did not tell us that was Smoke DZA in any capacity. Because I was dialed
Unless
into
they
the main
announced
event.
it
That
and
was
we
was that the
missed
cage match?
Yeah, that was the cage match.
Yeah.
Someone posted a video on Twitter.
He threw someone through a table. Okay.
No, I definitely
I
remember
do
someone getting
remember it
thrown through a
happening. I did
table.
remember seeing it.
No, I definitely remember that. Like, I just do not
Wasn't
remember.
it put up on two chairs, right?
Yeah.
It was like a door put up on two chairs.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Nah, it was,
And yeah, just like and like I know they stress those tables so it doesn't hurt as much, but that's still wood snapping around you. Like, like
Yeah. I'm gonna share my screen and show you.
it wasn't even just the impact stuff. It was actually seeing people just get tossed around. Like people were just getting thrown around.
No, yeah, it was just a wild thing to watch. And honestly, like I hope, like I think it is cool that rappers are getting involved in like more things than they love that aren't just, you know, acting in fashion.
Yes.
You know, I think that's ultimately why I do kind of fuck with this whole thing he did, because It is just him kind of just chasing the things he loves. Up, let's watch this stream.
Brother.
Yeah, I lost audio. My whole thing went to shit.
Yeah, we lost the whole thing. We podcasted too close to the sun. Like,
Yeah, whatever. I tried.
Okay.
okay,
That's
we
all
tried.
right.
We did our thing.
All right, close your life. If you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you dare.
I'm gonna leave a fair amount of this ridiculousness in the episode.
Why is it not closing?
You broke it. We're in Cutland, so like leave the call and come back.
Yeah, you can just leave the call. and come
I
back.
am definitely doing that.
Yeah, just do that. Oh, cool. The
Well-
stream is ended. Close stream. There we go.
More like stove got cooked.
More like
Hey.
Jeff got cooked.
Yeah, fuck it. Whatever.
We return.
Does anyone else not see Jeff?
I do not see him.
No, I don't see him either. It's just pink.
Oh, my camera's not on.
Oh, there we
There
go.
it is.
No, this is great.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
There it is. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there. All right, we're back.
All right, we're back. Yeah, I'm gonna just
Not
listen
like
for.
it matters.
I'm just gonna listen for whoop. There it is in the edit. Anyway, so yeah, dude, it was crazy to watch a bunch of guys get thrown like through tables and hit with barbed wire, and to listen to boom, 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 boom the whole night.
Right. They
And-
literally, I can't believe the DJ said, "Can we get a boom?" I lost it. I lost it.
Yeah,
I could not
we boom,
believe
boom,
people
boom
did
so
it.
loud, right? And it was the chillest vibe. It was the chillest vibe of any concert I've ever been to. Yeah, no, I would always, I would go back to this
Oh, absolutely.
without a question.
$80.
$80?
Again, I will be there.
Yeah, if there was another Fourth Rope Heels Have Eyes in Chicago, I would go. It
I don't
was,
even care what album it is.
yeah,
I will
no,
go.
I would, yeah, no, I would definitely go. I don't care if it was a different artist doing it. Right?
This is so smart.
God, he's just
He's
all-
promoting a whole wrestling brand by dropping an album.
you
Yeah,
do what you do.
Who does that?
Who does that? No
My
one
God
else.
does.
God, that is why he's the super fly god.
Why he's a super fly guy.
All right.
Well,
Do we
yeah,
want to
welcome
move on to
to
recommendations?
Jasper
Call it a
Killers.
week. Get back to our sorrows.
yes. Who's ready?
I'm ready. I want to recommend a song that came out last week because it's real fucking good. I can't stop listening to it. I'm gonna recommend "Bigger in Texas" by Megan Thee Stallion. Old school throwback Texas beat. Basically, every important hip hop figure from Texas is in the video. Megan's in the video, so it's great. Listen to that song.
Yeah, I'll be there. All right. I'll go next. I don't know why, but I've been wanting to listen to some Brad Fayez. It's been a while. I went back to Wasteland and Gravity.
We all
featuring
know why.
Adler. So good.
We all know why.
We all know why. But yes, it is so good. Gravity, so good. And Tyler's verse.
I love that song so much.
It's a good song.
I'll go next. So I'm also going with the song that came out last week. It's Freddie Gibbs' new album. It's
Mm.
Cosmo Freestyle.
I gotta still listen to that. I haven't gotten to that. I bet it's
It's
really
Listen
good.
to it. It's pretty good.
Not yet. No, I'm sure it's great. I love Freddie Gibbs. I gotta get
It's
to
only
it.
37 minutes.
Yeah, no, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do that in Absol tomorrow.
Jasper.
So I made the mistake of listening to the new Lil Uzi Vert album.
Yeah.
Don't recommend one of the songs.
No. So I decided to listen to some good Lil Uzi Vert to even it out. So I'm going with "You Was Right."
Good choice. It's a good
Good
song.
choice.
Good choice. Yeah.
The video for that song lives in my head rent free. Like 8 years later.
It's a good one to have. I like that. I also tried listening to the album. I didn't finish it.
Did you stop at Meteor Man?
Hold on. Actually, I want to look because I stopped twice. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Because
No, I
Meteor Man
saw.
is the place where you should stop.
Yeah, I saw that the only feature was Big Time Rush, and I'm like, no. And I was just like, I don't need to do this. Chromacopia came out this week.
Yeah.
I get
I'm not a
to
big
Big
fan.
Time Rush, and it was not good.
Yeah.
It was not good. Anyway,
Just not a fan.
Yeah.
no one is. Brandon, is it your turn?
Yeah, it is. Okay, so my next one is more from me just feeling real doomy, real upset. But it's an old school, it's a classic, it's not hip hop, but it's very good. It's Never Let Me Down Again by Deepak Mode.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, real vibey, really synthy.
like that.
Okay.
All right. My second one, because of the world we're living in, I revisited Damn because, there's a lot said about
Yeah.
the 2016 election in this album, and I thought it was very fitting to revisit. But I'm going to recommend XXX, where that second verse is literally about waking up the next morning.
Underrated song.
Man, that whole album is so good. It is so good. I don't care.
What is the part of the verse where it's like, I'm about to speak at this convention, call you back?
Yep.
So
when
good.
it's literally talking about gun violence, not
Yes.
doing gun violence.
Yeah, that's the song with U2 on it,
Man.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who would have thought that song wound up good? I was like, I
Touch my
saw.
brother, touch my mother, touch my sister. Like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
So
Yeah,
good.
no, that song is one of my favorites off Damn.
It's such a good album. Element.
It's a very good album. It's a Kendrick album.
It's a Kendrick album.
It's a great album. My next song is another not hip hop song. It's Black Puma's "A Black Moon Rising."
All right.
It's a black alternative group.
Let's take a look. All right, Jasper, bring us home.
I'm going with another Denzel Curry song. Been going back lately. Sumo.
Oh, very good.
Classic.
Very good.
All right. Shall we get back to our lives fighting? Never mind. I'm not going to talk about that.
Let's just go like, comment, subscribe, and
Yeah, go like, comment, subscribe.
do what my
Survive.
shirt says: make cupcakes, not war.
Yeah, so let's do that. God, I'm so sorry about the state of the world, everyone. We'll be back next week. Are we doing our T-Pain episode next week?
Yeah, we should.
Oh my God, Evening with Tallahassee Pain.
Wait, what's happening?
I've been wanting to do a
Or-
T-Pain
or-
episode for weeks.
Oh, T-Pain. I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, weird. All right, this is where we're ending the video on. Good night and good luck, everybody.